You ever woken up and felt like the weight of the world was already pressing on your chest before your feet even touched the floor? That quiet heaviness, that invisible burden is what steals the strength of so many mornings. But here's a truth that very few people realize. The words you speak to yourself the moment you wake up are more powerful than anything the world can throw at you. Your inner voice sets the tone. It creates the lens through which you see everything, and it decides whether you rise or whether you shrink back. Most people start their day on autopilot, letting old doubts and fears write the script for them. But you are here, and that means you are ready to break that cycle. Imagine for a moment that your mind is like fertile soil. Whatever seed you plant first in the morning grows fastest, and it spreads through everything you do. If the first seed is doubt, the rest of the day bends under its shadow. If the first seed is strength, confidence, or hope, then even the hardest challenges feel different. Science has proven this. Your brain literally shapes itself according to repeated thoughts. Neurons wire together when they fire together. That means every morning your words are carving new patterns in your mind. Patterns that determine your courage, your focus, and your energy. What you tell yourself is not just talk. It is architecture. It is self-designed destiny. Think about the mornings you dragged yourself out of bed saying things like, I can't do this, or nothing ever changes. Didn't the whole day feel heavier, slower, harder? Now contrast that with the day you started by saying, I will find a way, or today I own my choices. Didn't your chest feel lighter, your mind sharper, your courage closer to the surface? That shift is not magic. It is you taking control of the most important conversation of your life, the one you have with yourself. So why does this matter? Because life is not easy. No matter who you are, storms will come, setbacks will knock you down, and doubts will whisper that you're not enough. But here is the secret. You are not powerless. You hold the power to fight back every single morning before the world even touches you. That is why what you say to yourself in those first fragile minutes is not a small ritual. It is a weapon. It is armor. It is the spark that decides whether you walk into the day timid or unshakable. Stay with this message until the end, because you are going to learn words that will rewire your mornings, words that carry weight, words that can break the chains of yesterday and give you strength for today. If you've ever felt stuck, if you've ever wanted to change but didn't know where to start, this is it. This is where the transformation begins. Not in some distant dream, not in some lucky break, but right here, right now, with what you choose to tell yourself when you first wake up. This is the foundation. This is the turning point. This is where your future begins to change. The first truth to plant in your mind every morning is simple, yet life-changing. Tell yourself, I am worthy of this day. Let those words sink in, because so many people live as if they are undeserving of their own lives. They wake up already apologizing for who they are, already carrying shame, already shrinking before the world's even seen them. But worthiness is not something you earn by being perfect. It is not something you win when others approve of you. Worthiness is the ground you stand on simply because you exist. The moment you breathe in the morning, you are enough. And when you declare that to yourself, you strip away the chains of comparison, fear, and self-doubt. Your mind needs this reminder, because psychology tells us that the human brain has a bias toward negativity. It clings to fear, to failure, to criticism more strongly than it holds on to praise or success. That's why it feels so easy to believe you're not good enough, while believing in yourself feels like an uphill climb. But here's the power you hold. Every time you say, I am worthy, you're rewiring that bias. You're interrupting the automatic cycle of self-criticism and planting a new truth. The more you repeat it, the more natural it becomes, until one day it is no longer just a phrase. It is the core of how you see yourself. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine how differently you would walk into the day if you carried yourself as someone truly worthy. How would you speak in that meeting? How would you show up in that classroom, that job interview, that conversation? You wouldn't shrink. You wouldn't hide. You wouldn't be begging for scraps of validation. You would stand rooted, grounded, steady. That is what happens when you start your morning declaring your worth. You reclaim the authority over your own life instead of handing it to someone else. And here's why this matters so deeply. When you see yourself as worthy, you stop settling. You stop tolerating toxic relationships, empty routines, and environments that drain you. Worthiness builds courage. and courage builds action. You start asking for more. You start creating more. You start living like your time here actually matters. And when you live that way, people notice, opportunities open, respect grows. But most importantly, your own heart finally feels at home within you. This is not empty affirmation. This is survival. This is strength. You need to hear these words because the world will try to convince you otherwise. Advertisements, social media, even the voices of people closest to you may tell you that you need to look a certain way, achieve a certain title, or prove yourself over and over just to deserve happiness. But when you start your day saying, I am worthy of this day, you take that power back. You remind yourself that no one else gets to decide your value. So tomorrow, when your eyes first open and your mind wants to run back to worry, stop, breathe, speak it clearly. I am worthy of this day. Say it again until you feel it in your chest. Make it the seed, the anchor, the unshakable truth that guides every step. Because when you live from worthiness, you don't just survive the day. You rise through it, you lead it, you own it. This is how you begin to rewrite your life. When you've reminded yourself of your worth, the next truth you must breathe into your spirit is this. I have the power to choose how today unfolds. Most people forget this. They wake up and hand their lives over to circumstances, to moods, to whatever happens around them. They drift like leaves in the wind, believing they have no control. But the most liberating discovery you can ever make is that your choices shape your reality far more than your conditions ever will. The direction of your day does not belong to chance. It belongs to you. Every single morning, you stand at a crossroads. On one side is reaction, where you let stress, noise, and the opinions of others drag you. On the other side is intention, where you decide your focus, your energy, and your actions. Psychology confirms this truth. People who believe they have agency over their lives consistently experience more resilience, more fulfillment, and greater success. It's called an internal locus of control. When you tell yourself, I have the power to choose, you awaken this inner authority. You remind your mind that you are not a victim of what happens. You are the author of how you respond. Think about it. Life will test you. Someone may speak harshly. Plans may fall apart. Unexpected problems will show up. But none of those things can steal your peace or your purpose unless you hand them the keys. Your strength lies in the space between what happens to you and how you decide to answer it. That space is your freedom. That space is where courage is born. That space is where you prove to yourself that nothing outside can dominate what burns inside. When you wake up and declare, I have the power to choose how today unfolds, you are setting a shield over your mind. You are training yourself to see options where others only see obstacles. You are reminding your heart that you can redirect any moment, any conversation, any challenge. And once you carry this truth, pressure no longer paralyzes you. It fuels you. Problems no longer define you, they sharpen you. Every setback becomes a training ground, and every difficulty becomes proof that you are stronger than you thought. This shift changes how you show up in the world. Instead of asking, what will happen to me today, you start asking, what will I create today? That single difference transforms everything. It gives you energy when others are drained. It gives you clarity when others are confused. It gives you power when others feel powerless. Because while they wait for the world to be fair, you have already chosen to rise above it. And here is the reward. When you take ownership of your choices, you reclaim your life. You stop blaming, you stop shrinking, you stop waiting, you start building, you start leading, you start becoming the version of yourself that you know you were meant to be. Every day, every choice, every response becomes a brick in the foundation of the life you are creating. So tomorrow, before the weight of the world presses in, speak it boldly. I have the power to choose how today unfolds. Say it until it is not just words on your lips, but conviction in your soul. Carry it with you as armor, as fuel, as fire. Because when you live with this truth, nothing can drag you where you do not decide to go. You are no longer a passenger. You are the driver. You are the one steering your life forward. When you know your worth and claim the power of choice, the next truth becomes the fuel that ignites your day. I'm stronger than my fears. Fear is the silent thief that steals dreams before they are even born. It whispers reasons to stay small, to play safe, to delay action until some imaginary perfect moment arrives. But fear is nothing more than a story your mind tells to protect you from the unknown. And while fear may feel real, It is not the final authority over your life. Strength is, courage is, and every morning you have to remind yourself that what lives inside you is greater than what threatens you from outside. The human brain is wired to focus on danger. This is how our ancestors survived, by paying attention to what could harm them. But that same wiring now convinces us that every risk is unbearable. Every step into growth is unsafe. Every unknown path is too overwhelming. That is why so many people never leave the comfort zone. But here's the truth. Growth never comes from comfort. Every dream you carry will demand that you step into fear and push through it. The only way forward is through. And when you say, I am stronger than my fears, you shift from being hunted by them to hunting down the life you deserve. Think of the moments when fear has held you back, the opportunities you said no to because of self-doubt, the conversations you avoided because of rejection, the goals you delayed because of uncertainty. Now imagine the power of waking up every morning with a fire in your chest that says, fear will not win today. That mindset alone separates those who move forward from those who remain stuck. Because courage is not the absence of fear, it is the decision to act despite it. And that decision is made new every morning. When you claim strength over fear, you unlock a deep well of energy you didn't even know you had. Suddenly, the challenges that once felt impossible become opportunities to prove your resilience. The obstacles that once paralyzed you become stepping stones. The rejection that once broke you becomes redirection. Fear loses its grip because you have declared that it no longer controls you. And every time you face it, every time you push past it, your identity shifts. You are no longer the person who hides. You are the person who overcomes. This truth transforms not only how you see challenges, but also how you see yourself. You stop identifying with weakness and start identifying with strength. And identity is powerful because you will always act in alignment with who you believe you are. If you believe you are fragile, you will retreat. If you believe you are strong, you will rise. By telling yourself, I am stronger than my fears, you anchor your identity in resilience, and your actions follow that anchor. So tomorrow, when fear tries to speak first, silence it with strength. Stand in front of the mirror, breathe deeply, and remind yourself, I am stronger than my fears. Say it with conviction. Say it until it drowns out every doubt. Carry it into every moment, every decision, every challenge. Because when you live from this truth, fear does not decide your future. You do. And nothing is more powerful than a person who refuses to bow to fear. That is the kind of person the world cannot stop. Strength over fear is only the beginning. Because once you refuse to bow to fear, you unlock another truth that must guide your mornings. I am in control of my thoughts. This is the foundation of all transformation. Everything you feel, every action you take, every result you create begins in the silent world of your thoughts. Yet most people live as if their thoughts are wild storms they cannot control, letting worry, doubt, and negativity run unchecked. But your mind is not a prison. It is a tool, and you are its master. The moment you wake up and declare this truth, you begin to reclaim the most valuable territory you will ever own, the space between your ears. Research shows that the average person has tens of thousands of thoughts each day, and the majority of them are repetitive, recycled, and often negative. Left unchallenged, those thoughts carve deep grooves in the brain, turning into habits of belief that shape your identity. That's why a single unguarded thought like, I'm not good enough, can echo for years, shaping decisions and limiting potential. But the science of neuroplasticity proves something incredible. The brain changes with use. When you choose new thoughts, when you redirect your mind, you literally reshape the structure of your brain. That means every morning, with every intentional thought, you are rewriting your destiny. Imagine how different your life feels when you decide that you, not fear, not past mistakes, not other people, are in charge of your mind. Instead of spiraling into worry, you redirect towards solutions. Instead of dwelling on failure, you extract lessons and fuel determination. Instead of allowing negativity to weigh you down, you flood your inner world with words that strengthen you. This is not denial. It is discipline. It is the highest form of self-mastery. Because if you can rule your thoughts, nothing outside you can rule your life. This truth carries immense power because it breaks the cycle of helplessness. Many people believe they cannot help the way they think or feel, but the truth is, thoughts are choices. Feelings follow thoughts, not the other way around. When you take control of your thinking, you reshape your emotions. And when you reshape your emotions, you transform your actions. One intentional thought in the morning can ripple outward, changing the entire course of your day. And here's the reward. When you control your thoughts, you protect your peace. You walk into challenges with clarity instead of chaos. You face criticism with confidence instead of collapse. You meet setbacks with strategy instead of surrender. This is what makes the difference between those who crumble under pressure and those who rise through it. Because while others are dragged by their own unguarded minds, you are guiding yours with precision and strength. So tomorrow, before your day begins, take command of the battlefield within. Say it with conviction. I am in control of my thoughts. Do not whisper it. Own it. Say it until it feels like an unshakable truth in your bones. And then guard your mind like the treasure it is, because every thought you allow will either weaken you or strengthen you. Choose the ones that build you. Choose the ones that lift you. Choose the ones that align with the person you are becoming. Because when you master your thoughts, you are no longer at the mercy of the world. You are the architect of it. When you take ownership of your thoughts, you unlock the next truth that strengthens everything else you build upon it. I am capable of creating change. Too many people wake up believing they are stuck, believing their lives are fixed, believing that no matter what they do, nothing will ever shift. That belief is poison. It drains energy before action even begins. But the truth is this: every single day you hold the ability to change something. It might be small, it might be subtle, but every choice, every action, every new thought is a seed of transformation. And when you plant those seeds daily, the harvest becomes undeniable. Your brain thrives on growth. Psychological research shows that progress, even the smallest step forward, is one of the most powerful drivers of motivation. When you prove to yourself that you can change, even in little ways, your confidence expands. Momentum grows. A single action becomes two become 10, and soon you've reshaped entire patterns of your life. This is the compound effect of change. It begins quietly, but it multiplies with unstoppable force. That is why telling yourself each morning, I'm capable of creating change, is not just a phrase. It is a declaration of power against the lie of stagnation. Think about the moments when you've convinced yourself that things will never be different. Those moments feel heavy because your mind tricks you into believing your future is already written. But the truth is, your future is unwritten until you write it. Every great breakthrough begins with one person deciding that the past is not the limit, that today is not a prison, that tomorrow can be built differently, and that person can be you. Change does not ask for perfection. Change asks for courage, for willingness, for one step forward when everything in you says stay still. When you begin your day with this truth, you shift from being a passive passenger in your own life to an active creator. You no longer wait for luck or timing or permission. You rise and act, and action creates clarity. Clarity creates momentum, and momentum creates transformation. And when setbacks come, and they will, you no longer see them as proof that you cannot change. You see them as part of the process, as temporary resistance against permanent progress. This mindset turns obstacles into training, turns delays into lessons, turns failures into stepping stones. The reward of this truth is freedom. Freedom from the belief that you are trapped. Freedom from the story that your circumstances are unmovable. Freedom from the lie that who you are now is all you will ever be. Because when you know you are capable of creating change, you start to dream again. You start to act again. You start to believe again. And belief is the spark that lights every fire of transformation. So when the sun rises tomorrow, look at yourself and say with power, I am capable of creating change. Let it echo through your chest. Let it remind you that no matter how small the step, every action counts. You don't have to overhaul your entire life in one morning. You only need to prove to yourself that change is possible today. Because once you believe that, no force on earth can convince you to stay the same. The ability to create change becomes unstoppable. When you anchor it to the next truth, my past does not define my future. So many people wake up each morning already chained to yesterday. They replay mistakes, regrets, failures, and pain as if the past is a prison cell with no key. But the past is not a life sentence. It is a lesson. It is a place to visit for wisdom, not a place to live in forever. When you wake up and tell yourself this truth, you shatter the illusion that yesterday holds any power over who you can become today. Psychologists call it cognitive fusion. The tendency to glue ourselves to old memories, believing that because something happened once, it must always be true. If you fail before, you assume you will always fail. If you were rejected once, you assume you will always be unwanted. But this is a lie the mind tells to keep you safe from risk. The reality is that your brain is constantly adapting, constantly changing, constantly able to rewire itself. This means who you were yesterday is not who you have to be today. Your identity is not fixed. It is fluid. And every morning, you have the choice to step into a new version of yourself. Think of the weight you've carried from the past, the words spoken to you, the chances you didn't take, the doors that closed. Those memories might feel heavy, but they are not chains unless you keep holding them. They are lessons if you let them be. The past only defines you when you give it permission to. And the moment you withdraw that permission, the past loses its grip. You are free to write a new story, to turn pain into strength, and to transform wounds into wisdom. When you declare, my past does not define my future, you are not denying what has happened. You are choosing to rise above it. You are saying, yes, those moments shape me, but they do not confine me. I can grow from them, I can heal from them, and I can move beyond them. That shift in perspective is what separates those who stay stuck from those who soar, because life is not about avoiding mistakes. It is about refusing to be imprisoned by them. This truth gives you the courage to take risks again, to love again, to trust again, to dream again. It allows you to stand up after every fall with the unshakable belief that each stumble is part of the path, not the end of it. It tells your heart that you are allowed to outgrow your past, that you are allowed to evolve, that you are allowed to become someone your former self could not even imagine. The reward of carrying this truth is renewal. You begin each day not as a prisoner of yesterday, but as a creator of tomorrow. You stop dragging old weight into new beginnings. You give yourself permission to be new, to be different, to be better. And when you live this way, your future opens like a blank page, waiting for you to write it with boldness instead of fear. So as you rise tomorrow, breathe deep and declare without hesitation, my past does not define my future. Let those words cut through the noise of regret. Let them silence the doubts tied to old mistakes. Let them remind you that today is a fresh canvas and you hold a brush. Because when you live by this truth, no shadow of yesterday can block the light of the life you are building now. When you free yourself from the weight of the past, you open the door to another truth that fuels your mornings with strength. I already have everything I need to begin. Too many people delay their dreams because they believe they are missing something. They think they need more money, more education, more approval, or more confidence before they can start. But this is the trap of postponement, the endless waiting for perfect conditions that never come. The truth is that you already hold within you the seed of everything you need to take the first step. The power to begin is not waiting in the future. It is alive in you right now. Your mind will try to convince you otherwise. It will magnify what you lack and shrink what you already carry. But psychology proves that progress is not built on having everything figured out. It is built on starting with what you have and building as you go. People who take action with limited resources grow faster than those who wait endlessly for the illusion of readiness. Momentum creates clarity, not the other way around. Every time you begin with what you have, you discover strength, creativity, and resilience that you didn't even know existed. Think of how many moments you paused because you felt unprepared. How many opportunities slipped by because you told yourself you weren't ready. That hesitation builds regret, and regret builds walls around your potential. But when you wake up and remind yourself, I already have everything I need to begin, those walls start to crumble. You realize that readiness is not something you wait for. It's something you create by stepping forward. Confidence doesn't appear before the journey. It grows because of the journey. This truth matters deeply because it stops the cycle of waiting and places you in the cycle of doing. Action is where transformation lives. The smallest step forward will always bring more progress than the most detailed plan that never leaves your mind. And the moment you choose to act, life begins to meet you halfway. Opportunities appear, connections form, doors open, not because you were perfectly prepared, but because you move with courage. The reward of carrying this truth is freedom from excuses. No longer do you tell yourself that tomorrow will be better. No longer do you convince yourself that someday is safer. You realize that today is enough. You are enough. What you have in your hands, in your heart, in your mind right now is enough to start moving. And when you move, you create momentum that changes everything. So as your day begins, silence the voice that says you must wait. Look yourself in the eyes and speak it with conviction. I already have everything I need to begin. Let it break the cycle of hesitation. Let it ignite the courage to take the step you've been avoiding. Let it remind you that the life you desire will never arrive through waiting. It will arrive through action. And action begins now with what you already carry inside. Because the truth is this, the power to begin has always been yours. And today is the perfect day to use it. Once you embrace the truth that you already have what you need to begin, the next truth gives direction and fire to that beginning. My life has purpose. Without purpose, even the greatest efforts feel empty. Without purpose, you wake up but feel no reason to rise. You move, but you feel no meaning behind the movement. Purpose is the fuel that turns survival into living, and it is not something reserved for the extraordinary. It is within every single person who draws breath. Each morning, when you remind yourself of this truth, you align your energy, your focus, and your choices with something greater than routine. Psychologists have found that people with a sense of purpose live longer, experience less stress, and recover faster from setbacks. Purpose acts as a compass, pointing your thoughts and actions in a clear direction, even when storms surround you. It gives meaning to effort, strength to sacrifice, and clarity to choices. And most importantly, purpose is not discovered somewhere far away. It is uncovered inside you through your passions, your values, and your willingness to make a difference with the time you've been given. Think about how powerful it feels when you know why you are doing something. Work feels lighter, obstacles feel smaller, and setbacks feel temporary. Compare that to the weight of drifting without meaning, where every challenge feels like proof that life is pointless. The difference between despair and determination is not the size of the challenge, it is the presence of purpose. That is why you must begin each morning declaring to yourself that your life has meaning, that your existence is not random, that you are here for a reason larger than fear or comfort. Purpose does not always announce itself in grand visions or loud revelations. Sometimes it shows up in the quiet decisions to grow, to help, to create, to keep moving when it would be easier to quit. It is found in the way you use your time, in the way you treat people, in the way you rise after falling. Every act of courage, every choice to live with integrity, every moment you invest in becoming more, it all adds to your purpose. And when you wake up believing in that, even ordinary days become sacred. The reward of carrying this truth is unshakable strength. When you know your life has purpose, rejection cannot crush you, failure cannot define you, and doubt cannot paralyze you. Because you are no longer living just for approval or comfort, you are living for something eternal. And that gives you power no obstacle can steal. It means that every challenge becomes part of your mission, every victory becomes proof of your direction, and every day becomes another chance to live fully. So tomorrow, rise with fire in your chest and speak it clearly. My life has purpose. Say it until your spirit believes it. Let it break through the fog of uncertainty. Let it remind you that even if the path is not always clear, the meaning is always there. You are not here by accident. You are not breathing by chance. You are alive because your life matters, and the world needs what only you can give. Carry this truth into your day and watch how everything changes when you live with purpose burning inside you. When you rise each day grounded in purpose, the next truth strengthens your ability to live it fully. I am responsible for my life. Responsibility is not a burden, it is liberation. It is the moment you stop waiting for someone else to rescue you, stop blaming circumstances, and stop handing away your power to excuses. Many people waste years pointing fingers at the past, at people who hurt them, at systems that failed them, at luck that never showed up. But the truth is, as long as you keep blaming, you stay powerless. When you claim responsibility, you reclaim control. You stand tall in the knowledge that your choices, not your circumstances, define your future. Psychology teaches us about the difference between victim mentality and ownership. A victim mentality says, life happens to me and I am powerless. Ownership says, life presents challenges, but my choices decide who I become. The research is clear. People who embrace responsibility experience greater resilience, stronger mental health, and deeper fulfillment. Because responsibility creates clarity. It strips away illusions and forces you to face the truth. No one is coming to do the work for you. Your life is yours to build. And that truth, though heavy, is also the greatest source of strength you will ever hold. Think about the energy you waste when you blame. Every moment spent resenting what others did or didn't do is a moment stolen from building what you can create now. Responsibility does not mean ignoring injustice or pretending pain never happened. It means refusing to let those things hold the steering wheel of your life. It means looking at your present reality and saying, this is mine to change. This is mine to lead. This is mine to own. That shift in mindset moves you from powerless to powerful, from reactive to proactive, from drifting to driving. When you begin your morning with this truth, you stop waiting and start acting. You stop hoping and start building. You stop leaning on excuses and start standing on discipline. This is how mountains are moved, one act of responsibility at a time. And with every choice you make, you prove to yourself that you are not helpless, you are not trapped, you are not dependent on luck. You are capable of leading yourself forward, regardless of what lies behind you. The reward of responsibility is freedom, because when you own your life, no one else can control it. You are no longer chained to what others expect or limited by what others fail to provide. You are no longer at the mercy of circumstances. You are the captain of your own ship. Responsibility may demand effort, but it gives back dignity. It may require discipline, but it returns power. And with power comes the ability to shape the future instead of waiting for it. So tomorrow, when you look in the mirror, remind yourself with unshakable conviction, I am responsible for my life. Say it until it silences the excuses. Say it until it drowns out the blame. Say it until you feel the strength of ownership flood through your chest. Because the moment you own your life is the moment you stop drifting and start creating. And that is the moment everything begins to change. When you claim responsibility for your life, the next truth naturally flows into your heart. I am grateful for this moment. Gratitude is not weakness. Gratitude is strength. It is the discipline of shifting your focus from what is missing to what is present, from what has been lost to what is still here, from what went wrong to what is still possible. So many people wake up already trapped in lack, already thinking of bills, deadlines, problems, and flaws. But gratitude rewires the brain. It opens your eyes to abundance, sharpens your focus on opportunity, and reminds you that even in struggle, you still have reasons to rise. Science has proven the power of gratitude. Studies show that people who practice it regularly experience lower stress, stronger relationships, and deeper happiness. Gratitude trains the brain to look for what is good, and what you focus on expands. When you start your morning saying, I am grateful for this moment, you teach your mind to see blessings where others see burdens, to notice opportunities where others see obstacles, and to hold joy even in the middle of struggle. Gratitude does not deny difficulty. It equips you to endure it. Think of how your energy shifts when you stop saying, I have nothing, and begin saying, I still have breath, I still have chances, I still have strength. Suddenly, the day feels lighter. Suddenly, your problems don't own you. Gratitude is not about pretending everything is perfect. It is about refusing to let what is imperfect blind you to what is good. This shift in perspective is not small. It changes the chemistry of your brain, it calms your nervous system, and it grounds your spirit in resilience. When you live with gratitude, you stop comparing your life to others. You stop waiting for some future achievement to allow yourself to feel joy. You begin to see that joy is available now in the smallest details. A sunrise, a chance to try again, a body that still carries you forward, a mind that can still dream. And when you live with that awareness, your spirit becomes harder to break. Because while others measure their worth in possessions or approval, you measure your worth in perspective, and perspective is unshakable. The reward of this truth is abundance. Gratitude multiplies what you already have. It makes little feel like much and turns ordinary days into sacred ground. It pulls you out of fear and lifts you into hope. And when gratitude fills your heart, it spills into how you treat others. You speak with kindness, act with generosity, and carry yourself with humility. That is the kind of energy that not only transforms your day, but also transforms the lives of those around you. So tomorrow morning, as your eyes open, before worry creeps in, pause, breathe deeply, and speak it aloud. I'm grateful for this moment. Let it flood your mind. Let it center your heart. Let it remind you that no matter what you face today, you are not empty. You are not lacking. You are alive, and that alone is a gift. Gratitude is the lens that reveals the beauty already within your reach. And when you choose to live from that place, you will never again wake up feeling poor. You will wake up rich in perspective, rich in strength and rich in possibility. Gratitude strengthens your spirit, but the next truth sharpens your direction. I have the power to choose. Every single morning, life hands you decisions, how you will think, how you will speak, how you will act, how you will respond. Most people surrender that power without realizing it. They allow moods, other people, or yesterday's mistakes to dictate today's behavior. But freedom is found in remembering that you always have a choice. You may not control every event, but you always control how you meet it. That is where true power lives. Psychologists call this agency, the recognition that your choices matter, that you are not merely reacting to life, but actively shaping it. Agency is one of the greatest predictors of resilience, motivation, and success. People who believe they have no control over their circumstances often give up, even when solutions exist. But people who remember they have a choice keep moving forward, keep searching for answers, keep creating possibilities. The difference between despair and hope often comes down to this single realization. You are never powerless when you still hold the ability to choose. Every choice creates momentum. When you choose discipline over comfort, you build strength. When you choose kindness over bitterness, you build connection. When you choose persistence over quitting, you build progress. None of these choices may seem massive in the moment, but stacked together day after day, they create transformation. Your life is not built in one grand decision, but thousands of small ones, and every morning you decide what kind of person you will become through them. Think of how many times you've whispered, I had no choice. The truth is you did. You may not have liked the options, you may not have wanted the responsibility, but the choice was still there. Owning that truth is both heavy and empowering because it means that if your life can be shaped by your past choices, it can also be reshaped by your future ones. You are not locked into a path you regret. You can decide differently today, now, in this very moment. Choice is the birthplace of change. Every new habit, every new direction, every breakthrough begins with a choice, a decision to no longer tolerate what holds you down, a decision to take the first step, no matter how small, a decision to keep going, even when progress feels invisible. These are not abstract ideals, they are daily realities. And the moment you remind yourself, I have the power to choose, you place your hands back on the wheel of your life. The reward of this truth is freedom from helplessness. When you know you can choose, you no longer feel trapped by fear, guilt, or regret. You realize that no one can fully control you unless you hand over your power. You realize that even in the darkest times, you still have a spark of influence. The choice to breathe, the choice to rise, the choice to try again. That spark is enough to light a fire that carries you forward. So when you wake tomorrow, remind yourself with absolute certainty, I have the power to choose. Say it until it pierces through doubt. Say it until it silences the voice of helplessness. Say it until you feel the strength of freedom in your chest. Because as long as you hold that power, your story is never finished. And every day you choose, you write the next line with courage. Choice ignites possibility, but possibility becomes reality only when you pair it with the next truth, I am stronger than I think. Most people live their lives underestimating their own capacity. They see obstacles and immediately assume they are too small, too weak, too unqualified to overcome them. But the truth is, human beings are built with reserves of strength they rarely tap into. You have survived every difficult day of your life up to this point. You have endured pain, disappointment, and fear, and yet you are still here, still breathing, still fighting. That alone is proof that your strength runs deeper than you imagine. Research in psychology shows that people consistently underestimate their resilience. When faced with hardship, they predict they will break, but in reality, they adapt, endure, and often emerge even stronger. This is called the strength underestimation bias. You think the storm will destroy you, but once you walk through it, you realize it forged you. Every scar you carry is not evidence of defeat, it is evidence of survival. And survival is strength. Every time you doubted yourself yet pushed forward anyway, you proved your strength. Every time you were afraid but acted regardless, you revealed your courage. Every time you felt like quitting but kept going, you discovered that your limit was not where you thought it was. Strength does not always roar. Sometimes it whispers, take one more step, and that whisper is often enough to keep you alive long enough to see the breakthrough you thought would never come. Strength is not measured only by physical ability. It is measured by your willingness to rise when life knocks you down. It is measured by your ability to hold on to hope when your circumstances scream despair. It is measured by your refusal to allow pain to harden your heart or fear to dictate your future. True strength is not just endurance. It is transformation. It is the ability to walk through fire and come out refined, not destroyed. When you start your day by declaring, "I am stronger than I think," you reprogram your mind to search for that hidden resilience. Your body listens. Your mind listens. Your spirit listens. You awaken the part of yourself that refuses to break. And when challenges come, instead of shrinking, you remember your own words. You remember that strength lives inside you, waiting to be claimed. The reward of this truth is confidence. Not the shallow kind that depends on appearance, approval, or achievements, but the deep kind that comes from knowing you can handle more than you thought possible. Confidence that no matter what arrives, you will not be crushed. You will rise because you already have before, and you will again. That kind of confidence makes you dangerous to despair, unshakable in storms, and unstoppable in pursuit of your vision. So tomorrow morning, as you prepare to step into the world, declare with unwavering certainty, "I'm stronger than I think." Say it until your doubts fall silent. Say it until your fears lose their grip. Say it until your spirit rises in defiance of every obstacle. Because the truth is, strength is not something you must wait to find. It is already within you. And when you finally believe that, no challenge can defeat you, because you will never again underestimate the power of your own resilience. Strength reveals itself in moments of pressure, but it becomes unstoppable when paired with the next truth. I am worthy of love and respect. Too many people walk through life carrying the silent belief that they are not enough. They measure themselves against impossible standards, comparing their flaws to others' strengths and convincing themselves that worth must be earned through perfection. But worth is not something you chase. It is something you already carry. From the moment you enter this world, you are worthy. No mistake has erased it. No failure has canceled it. No rejection has stripped it away. Your worth is not negotiable. It is unshakable. Psychology teaches us that self-worth is the foundation of mental health, relationships, and success. Without it, even victories feel hollow. You can achieve great things and still feel empty if deep down you do not believe you deserve them. When you believe you are unworthy, you sabotage opportunities, accept mistreatment, and shrink yourself to fit into places that do not honor you. But when you wake up each day reminding yourself, "I am worthy of love and respect," you shift the way you carry yourself. You stop begging for validation and start embodying confidence. You stop settling for crumbs and start expecting the feast you deserve. This truth is not about arrogance or superiority. It is about dignity. It is about remembering that every human being, including you, deserves kindness, respect, and compassion. The world will not always give it freely, but you have the power to set the standard for how you will be treated. You teach others how to value you by how you value yourself. If you constantly speak to yourself with criticism, you invite others to do the same. If you carry yourself with shame, you signal to the world that you do not believe you deserve more. But when you affirm your worth, when you act like your life matters, when you speak to yourself with respect, the world begins to respond differently. This truth heals. It silences the voice of shame that tells you you are too broken, too flawed, too unlovable. It dismantles the lie that love is reserved for people who look a certain way, achieve a certain status, or never make mistakes. Worth is not earned through performance. It is revealed in presence. You exist and therefore you matter. And the moment you accept that you no longer chase worth, you embody it. The reward of this truth is freedom from desperation. You stop clinging to relationships that diminish you. You stop tolerating disrespect disguised as love. You stop sacrificing your peace to prove your value. Instead, you begin to build connections rooted in mutual honor, where love is not begged for but freely exchanged. And the more you affirm your worth, the less you need the world's approval because you already stand on unshakable ground. So tomorrow, look into the mirror and declare with certainty, "I am worthy of love and respect." Say it even if it feels uncomfortable. Say it until it begins to sink into the deepest parts of your being. Say it until the lies of unworthiness lose their grip. Because the day you believe this truth is the day you stop apologizing for existing. And when you finally own your worth, you step into life not as someone waiting to be chosen, but as someone who knows they already belong.